Welcome back to What's Arty Noobs with General Disturbance, and this is a Bat Châtillon 155-55, the Tier 9 French SPG, and on the south spawn of Fisherman's Bay, and the name of the commander is Kento. You've seen him before, and this is another of his replays. Now the Bat Chat 155-55, it has a cannon which is 155mm. It was built, or originally was intended to be built on the chassis of a US M47 medium tank, but in the end they actually decided that they were going to build it on the Bat Chat 25T, the medium tank, the French medium. Or rather actually the Bat Chat 25T is actually a light tank, but unfortunately the SPG was never built. It was a design on paper only, and they never got around to making it, even though they built the prototypes for the Lorraine 155-51, and that's a lovely shot there. 303 hit points on the T54E1. I must stop talking and follow the battle. You got a 501 hit point follow-up for stun assist on it as well. I was so involved in telling you a bit about the story, but what happens, they made two designs by Lorraine, the 155-50 and the 155-51, and those were both canned and shelved in favour of the Bat Chat 155-55 and the 155-58, which is tier 10. And that round went in just behind the M103. You still got 148 hit points of splash. The other good thing about this particular Arty is the fact that it has a turret, which means that the vehicle doesn't actually have to face in any particular direction for you to run away, and it is fairly fast. You can just sit it anywhere and turn the turret, and that's a direct hit. 265 hit points right into the front of that T54. And he's relocating. Now, seeing as it's actually built on the hull of a light tank, it's actually quite fast. Now, that IS-7 is having a ding-dong with that tortoise. Unfortunately, we can't fire in there, but we can hit the T-54. It's coming up to support him. Rounds out. Direct hit. 344 hit points. That was a really useful hit. He stunned the T-54. That will slow its fire rate. And he's picking up stun assist as well, because the Object 140 is engaging. And now the T-54 is being hunted, and he's been taken out. So that was a really effective shot. Really turned the tide down at the other end, because the T-54 was coming in to aid his buddy, but in fact he became a target, and he was wiped out. Now the turret has swung round, and we're going after the Action 10. 132 off him. Object 140 moving ahead, the Action 10 moving back, but we've got a big force moving up here onto the west side of the map, and they're exchanging fire with the defenders. The Object 140 to the tortoise, and the T-54E1's gone down. Now he's going for the T-30, big hit into the rear. That's a rude, useful shot, because the T-30 is a dangerous tank destroyer. Actually, going after the M103 now? Yes, he is. Actually, they're close together, those two. Lining up on the 103. Rounds out. Direct hit. 333 hit points. Good strike. And he's picking up some stun assist as well. And that 103 is on his last few hit points now, so he won't survive very much longer. But there's only the E50 up around that side of the map. And he's now near the windmills, so he's picked up that last few hit points from the destruction of the M103. But the other two are now below the ridgeline, and the E50 appears to be retreating around to the south to try and get at the enemy as they come around the windmill. There they are. There's the T-30. Unfortunately, that Sheridan's very, very dangerous with his big derp gun. He missed. He missed. Oh, unfortunately he did some damage there to his own teammate, but the Sheridan's taken out. He was killed by the Type 4 Heavy. And he's right at the other end of the other side of the cap. Now we've got the T30 and the E50. This is really difficult. That T30 is a difficult customer to destroy. But they managed to get him. The E50 actually managed to take out the T30. Now, let's have a look. The E50 is now taking this other T30. Oh, that was just hit the building. Kento almost tried to put the shell through the gap, but it hit the building instead and wiped out the building. I wish more buildings were destructible in the game, because it ought to be that way. If you hit a building, you can knock it down. There's far too many non-destructible buildings in the game. Okay, he's going after the Badger, or is he going after this E75? I think he's going to go after the E75. Yep, he is. 27 hit points of splash. And he's picked up some stun assists because the E75 hit him as well. Now the enemy is retreating. Now there's only 4 enemy left. That Object 140 is streaming back into that corner. The Badger and the E75 can't disengage without getting shot in the rear as they do. So instead they're just holding their ground in the centre. That Badger's down to his last 23 hit points. And he didn't pick up anything there, unfortunately. But the E75's gone. The Badger won't last very much longer. He's side on to us at the moment. If Kento could get a round out, he could take that Badger out. Now the Badger's under fire from multiple directions and he doesn't know which way to turn. And he's been killed. He was wiped out by the E50M in the end. That leaves just the T49 who's hiding at the very back. That's all he can do, really. He's still full health, but he's not going to be for very much longer. Kento fires around him. He has taken some hit points off that T49 and stunned him. The E50's going for the kill. Ram kills him. Wow, and he picked up 1,359 stun assist when the E50 rams the side of the T49 and smashes him to pieces. What a way to end the battle. Okay, let's have a look at the end of battle results for this one. And it's an ace tanker for Kento in the Bat Châtillon 155-55. He also picked up a bruise medal for getting at least 5 critical hits, incapacitations or module damage. And he picked up a Confederate for getting the most damage hitting more of the enemy than anyone else in his team. At least 6 tanks that were subsequently destroyed by other members of his team. And just look at the number there that he did hit. When it comes to team scores, well, he came fairly, 6th on the table with 2,070 hit points of damage. So that's a little way down. And when it comes to kills, well, he didn't get any kills at all. So that puts him way down the table there. But when it came to base XP, he was 2nd with 1,067. And that's primarily down to the fact that he was doing a lot of damage to tier 10 opponents. As well as the fact that he did have, he was instrumental in picking up a lot of stun assist and on damage on dangerous opponents at the right moment. He fired only 12 rounds, got 5 direct hits, 5 penetration and 8 splash. Did damage of 2,070 hit points, all at more than 300 meters. He did damage the E50 for 59 hit points, so he is going to lose something for that. And he hit 8 of the enemy, but didn't get any kills. But he did get 5,243 stun assists off 11 stuns. Very useful. He received 62,307 credits and he was fined 1,733 because of the damage he did to the E50. And there's a holiday ops bonus in there as well, which meant he actually had 89,650 credits. And after ammunition resupply, it's fairly cheap for the 155mm howitzer shells. So he actually was left with 76,210 credits in total. He received 1,601 XP, but there's another holiday ops bonus in there as well, and it was ×2 for the first victory of the day, so he actually ended up with 3,970 experience points overall. So, yes, ace, defender, loads of splash around on top. Well, it wasn't a defender actually, it was a Confederate, not a defender. Loads of splash on the turnaround, but I think you did have an instrumental effect upon that battle when you smacked that T-54 as he came in to rescue his colleague, and you turned the tide around at that particular point in the battle. enabled the E50 to then take on the T30 and win, and then take on the other T30 and win, and that effectively pushed the enemy back into the other half. I think that's the instrumental effect that you had on that side of the battlefield. And of course the rest of the team did fairly well by pushing through the city and clearing up there as well. If you enjoyed this replay, please give it a like and do subscribe to our channel. We need all the subscriptions we can get now that YouTube moves the goalposts. I hope you enjoyed this replay, and if you did, do keep sending your replays in, and hopefully the next video will be yours.